few years ago, I received an invitation that kind of rocked my world. I was offered a chance to be the keynote speaker at a national convention in Cambodia. Prior to this, my biggest audience was a humble gathering of about 75 people at church. But now, a global organization and a crowd of over 1,000 entrepreneurs on the other side of the world were asking me to deliver a wow experience. Even though this was a well-paid offer, I was really on the fence about accepting it. The next morning, when I was shaving, I looked into the mirror and had a conversation with myself. I asked, is this the easier road? Is a yes or a no easier? Now, I've been around long enough to know that nothing great in life comes easy, so for the most part, the decision was made. I trained and prepared for months in advance, hours upon hours of writing and practicing my speech. Even though I felt super prepared, I vividly remember the moment immediately before I was introduced to come up on stage. My nerves were frayed. My mouth was dry. My heart was pounding, and I was sweating up a storm. But it was showtime. No holding back now. Game on. Let's do this. We've all felt the fear and nerves right before a high-risk decision, a big event or an important life change. It may have been investing in new employees we could not really afford yet, buying inventory with no guarantee of sales, or agreeing to an expensive marketing campaign with no certainty that we're going to get a return on our investment. Now, it could very well have been the day we quit our job and took our life savings to start a company. I get it. We feel nervous because we are stepping outside of our comfort zone. Your heart is pounding. Your mind is racing. You're nervous. You're fearful. The question worth asking at this moment is, will I be disappointed in myself if I don't go through with this? Will I be letting myself or my team or my family down by turning back? You have to jump into the future and imagine you are sitting at the table reflecting on this. If you see yourself as regretful, wishing you had pushed through, then it's not an alignment issue. It's a matter of courage. Entrepreneurship is about risk. When I think back on my journey and the countless conversations I've had over the past 3 decades with entrepreneurs, the number one regret I hear most often is missing opportunities due to fear or uncertainty. Too many of us regret not taking the leap, usually due to fear of failure. Sometimes life shoves you into the deep end, the kind of deep that challenges not just your skills, but how you see yourself. It's like your soul goes, holy shit, this is where the magic happened. This is where you got to rev up your engines, even if you feel like your gas tank is empty. It is about zipping past your fear and taking that leap. After I returned from my speech in Cambodia, which was based on reviews and feedback, a smashing success, I was having coffee with a good friend and a very polished entrepreneur and speaker, a woman who seemed to have ironed out all the creases of her life with grace and dignity. Now, we talked about the cocktail of emotions we experience when taking risks. We talk about how it feels when you're teetering on the edge of the 40-foot cliff getting ready to jump into the quarry below. When the fear is thunderous and your heart is pounding, ready to jump out of your chest, are you going to fly or are you going to tumble? The question to ask yourself, will I look back at this moment and should I have taken the plunge? I've often said that I think the most painful word in the English language is, without a doubt, regret. Here's some wisdom, some guidance that I received from one of my mentors. This is a guy I followed throughout most of my career, Jim Rohn. He said, there is the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Choose your pain. It's like choosing between going for a workout that will fill you with energy and a feeling of accomplishment, or skipping it and having a beer with your buddies. Being an entrepreneur means you've got to dance with discomfort sometimes. But guess what? You get to choose the music you dance to. You get to pick the kind of discomfort that either molds you into greatness or leaves you in a limbo of what ifs. Where under those blinding spotlights, should I take a left or should I take a right at the fork? Should I take the slow, meandering, easy downhill or the steep and treacherous climb up? Too often we confuse discomfort for a do not enter sign. We think, oh boy, this is lonely, this is shaky, and what if I crash? But really, what these emotions are most often is the starting point of something amazing. Now, let's be real about the journey of building a company. You'll never truly be ready for the big stuff. Successful entrepreneurs wade through the murky waters, convinced they will come out on the other side. Discomfort is not life slamming the door in your face. It's life daring you to kick the damn door down. Life's looking you in the eye and saying, show me what you got. You have the courage, you have the heart, and you have an open road ahead, and you must not let fear and inaction win. So hop on your bike, blaze new trails, and remember, real change rarely, if ever, occurs in your comfort zone. A couple of weeks ago, I was sitting outside at my fire pit having a glass of scotch with my buddy who's running a $300 million company. We ended up in this deep conversation about fear and that uneasy feeling that creeps up when something just doesn't feel quite right. Now, if you're anything like me, I bet you felt that nervous excitement right before a massive change or a big event or a scary investment, right? What does this uneasiness really mean? As I was talking with my friend, we landed on this thought. When you're there right on the edge of something, your heart is racing, your palms are sweaty, how do you decide whether to take the leap into the ocean or stay on the shoreline? When you are standing at that proverbial fork in the road where a left keeps you comfortable and a right may be uncomfortable, how do you decide which way to go? What would future you say if you didn't go through with it? If you can see regret lingering in that hypothetical look back, it might be time to muster the courage to jump. Now, in my opinion, the number one reason entrepreneurs fail may not be what you think. I could talk all day about the myriad of reasons businesses fail because there's a ton of them. If we look at the facts, the analytics, the statistics, most of you will fail. I know that's not pleasant, but it's a reality. Now, we can root failure in not having sufficient market for our product or service. We can blame bad employees. We can look at cash flow. We can be on the finance. We can blame shitty sales or marketing strategies. Hell, we can even blame our parents if it makes us feel better. However, over the past 40 years, because I started my first company at age 11, I've been building companies and studying entrepreneurs. And the number one reason they fail is fear. Yeah, fear. Most entrepreneurs are afraid or uncomfortable with breaking out of their comfort zone. They won't ask for help when they need it. They won't take necessary risks to grow. They refuse to invest in that new employee or that unique marketing platform because they're scared. They're scared of failure. They're afraid of losing money, petrified of being wrong. Whatever the bullshit excuse of the day is, it's all about fear. Now, with the fire as our background, my buddy and I agreed on one undeniable fact. This is a reality that hindsight is 20/20. Looking back, it's like, I'm so glad I mustered the courage to hire that new employee, or thank God I invested in that training as it totally reshaped our future. On the other hand, hindsight can also work in the opposite direction. I really wish I didn't let fear win in that moment. When fear nudges you to stop moving forward, that feeling sticks with you and not in a fun, nostalgic kind of way. That feeling of regret really sucks. This whole thing reminds me of a Jim Rohn quote. We must all suffer from one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference is discipline weighs ounces while regret weighs tons. Life is not going to randomly throw some discomfort our way. This uneasiness is just part of the package deal of being an entrepreneur. But here's the kicker. We get to decide how we let that pain, that discomfort, that fear shape us. Will it be the pain that helps us grow or the pain that whispers what could have been? Here's the thing that we figured. More often than not, is the juiciest parts of life, the most thrilling parts of building a company, usually ask a hell of a lot from us. When everything's on the line, it's pretty damn easy to mistake that pressure and discomfort as a red light or stop sign, right? Feelings like loneliness, uncertainty, or dinged up pride, or maybe even a shot to our confidence might feel terrible. But most of the time, these feelings are just the price of admission for something potentially amazing to come in the future. But here's the challenge. Keeping that in mind when you're feeling nothing but stress and overwhelm and uncertainty, that's the real challenge. The good news is it's a challenge that we can totally tackle. Entrepreneurship is about jumping into stuff we might not feel totally ready for and then figuring out as we go. And honestly, fear is going to pop up no matter what we do. But if we can see that fear is a sign that we're onto something, there's something more available to us, that's when the real magic and the beauty happens. There's a reality. We do not get our dreams or our goals. We get our standards. And if our standards don't change, we will never grow. If your relationship with fear does not evolve, you will never grow. If you don't start putting different shit into your brain to change the fear factor, you will never grow. If you don't start hanging around with people that play the sport of entrepreneurship better or differently than you do, you will never grow. There's always going to be discomfort and fear. There's always uncertainty. And here's the reality. The great ones look fear in the eye, give it a wink, blast through to that next level, and never live with regret. It is often said that imperfect action taken today outweighs perfect action put off until tomorrow. So I guess the question is, why do we want to wait to be perfect? Is it because we fear failure or losing or messing up? One of my favorite sales trainers, Tom Hopkins, famously said, "I am not judged by the number of times I fail, but by the number of times I succeed. And the number of times I succeed is in direct proportion to the number of times I fail and keep trying." So by default, if we want to succeed, we better get comfortable with failure. It resonates because it urges us to abandon the belief that a single, perfectly timed effort can spawn excellence or winning. Waiting for the perfect moment, the stars to align, and a clear path to reveal itself. It's a useless endeavor. Entrepreneurship is not about achieving perfection, because the reality is you never arrive. Sure, you may build a business and sell it, but almost every great entrepreneur I know that has built and sold their company usually starts a new one within a year. Entrepreneurship is not about the arrival, but rather making constant adjustments, trying and failing and getting back up. Drawing from my personal experiences and reflecting on my past, I can recall instances where I clung to this illusion of perfection. I rationalized my inaction, telling myself I wasn't prepared, that it wasn't good enough yet. With a bit of self-reflection, it becomes clear that this inaction was not a result of some unwavering dedication to excellence, but rather fear. Fear of initiating, fear of venturing into the unknown, fear of investing in that new project, fear of launching a new product, fear of hiring the wrong person, fear of what others might say. Perfection is a painfully deceptive concept. It kind of keeps us waiting, promising the arrival of the ideal moment, the ideal right time. However, there are no perfect beginnings. All we have is the courage to venture into something new, or the inevitable regret of wishing we had. On the other hand, simply taking action without a clear path may seem counterintuitive, right? Why should we act prematurely? Isn't it more advantageous to wait to get it right, to know exactly what you will do when you reach that inevitable fork in the road? From my perspective, it's important to distinguish between the entrepreneur who is a thinker or ponderer and the entrepreneur who is a doer. A thinker meditates, deliberates, reflects, obsesses over obtaining all the necessary information before embarking on a new journey. In reality, true entrepreneurial greatness is shaped through repetition, trial and error, wheels hitting the road, missteps, accidents, confusion, These are the experiences that shape our journey. Acting before you're ready usually delivers two powerful wins. Firstly, after an initial setback, you realize that the failure wasn't as catastrophic as your brain led you to believe. And secondly, you will learn from these encounters. Failures provide insight into what works and what doesn't work. Then you can incorporate into your next steps. Over time, as you continually gather confidence and wisdom, your progress accelerates. Through doing, through taking action, you start building a solid foundation for the next step in your business, in your journey. And the next step in your business is vastly different than another entrepreneur because no two businesses are exactly the same. Even in the world of franchising, where the premise is that one location is identical to others, you write that franchise check, you learn a system, and like magic, your business is wildly successful and spitting out millions. Over the years, I have spoken with thousands of entrepreneurs, many of which had a franchise business. Ultimately, success is not simply a formula in some marketing materials. It comes down to the entrepreneur, to you, the CEO, and his or her willingness to step outside the comfort zone. The experiences that once humbled you become the pillars you lean on and ultimately transform into knowledge and power. The notion that you can bypass all of these hardships by patiently waiting for perfection to be handed to you, it's simply self-defeating. Building a company is not for the faint of heart. It is laced with failures and setbacks. While we can't control everything, acting now equips us with the skills to navigate the speed bumps. The greatest gift we can give ourselves is the permission to act. Imagine reflecting back on a year filled with highs and lows, twists and turns, wins and losses, ups and downs that have led us to where we are now. The road of entrepreneurship is not paved. It is a dirt road. It is a windy, rocky mountain bike trail. It's important to understand that entrepreneurship never demands perfection, but rather a willingness to take actions and adapt as we go along. Many people are building amazing companies, have tremendous health, live their very best lives only in their minds, not in reality. The gap between our vision and the present moment can be bridged by taking a step now, one step today, even when that step is scary. Entrepreneurship will always present unexpected challenges and changes, but it can also take you to incredible places and show you things beyond our wildest dreams. But you need to put yourself in a position to receive these opportunities. Entrepreneurs who help themselves often find the business world, the universe, more than willing to lend a hand. Give yourself the gift of progress, of momentum. If the value of your dream is determined by the actions we take to bring it to life, let that action start now. Move beyond the illusion of perfection and embrace the opportunity to take imperfect actions every day. Every time your mind says you're not ready, let that be your cue to take a step. Entrepreneurship might not be a race, but time will not wait for you. It's crucial to relinquish the pursuit of perfection as we evolve and grow. I can guarantee it won't be easy, but the reward is so worth the struggle.